All right, everyone, welcome back to Stacking the Deck. This episode, we have a special guest. We have Marcus Payne. All right, and for those that don't know, he brought the pain during Sorcery Con. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Marcus? Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about Sorcery Con, and how you got involved with the game.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. This is cool. Never done anything like this, so bear with me. But yeah, Marcus. I believe it or not got into TCGs through via MetaZoo, for better or for worse. That's the first card game that I actually really played. And then MetaZoo did its thing, ran its course, and I can't remember. I want to say Kurt, you had found out about Sorcery somehow, and I think you showed up to Common Ground one time, and you had the pre-cons, and we rolled out we unfolded the mat, we played it, and I just remember being kind of like, oh, this is like a board game, but cards, and I was pretty much just hooked on the spot. It's funny, I was looking back at some of my pictures, and I have like the first Sorcery box I ordered was November 25th, so coming up on a year ago now.
Wow.
And going strong. We opened that. Kurt and I each bought a box, and I think we both got a Philo stone in our first box.
That's what made it worth it. Yeah. Positive EV. We were in.
We were immediately in. And, yeah, now that Arthurian Legends came out, I guess about a month or so ago now, and that's kind of rekindled the enjoyment that I was having for it. For a while, we went 3 or 4 months there with nothing really going on, and I started playing some Flesh and Blood and got kind of hooked on Flesh and Blood. But then Arthurian Legends came out, and I was just right back in, man. I actually have an assortment of Arthurian Legends cards all around me right now that I'm going through and trying to put ideas together. But yeah, so Sorcery Con, we actually went to the first one back in, I guess, January, February, up in Seattle.
Yeah.
And that was 60 people, 64 people, maybe. But it was a good time up in Seattle. And then they announced this.
I think.
Yeah. And then they announced the second one, and Las Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, so of course we were going to make the trip. So we did that, and we showed up there, and there's 250 people there this time. So I mean, just in the course of a year, they went from 60 people to close to 300 people.
The main event had 268 players.
That's crazy.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Not bad.
Not bad for a little old, Kickstarter game, I guess. I don't know.
One of them board game card games.
Yeah.
Board game card games.
When are they going to do like a Twister tournament? I want to go to like Twister Nationals.
Well, I mean, there's a card. So there's a card in Sorcery called Chaos Twister, where you have to blow it off of your hand. It has to be at least a foot up in the air, and you have to blow it off of your hand, the card that you want to Chaos Twister. And depending on where it lands on the board, because for those of you that don't know, Sorcery is played on a 5x4 grid. Wherever it lands on that grid will be dealt damage equal to the power of the card that you blew. But there's some caveats to that. You only get one blow off of your hand. If it falls off into the void, nothing happens. If you don't blow it off of your hand, nothing happens. If you blow it onto your own cards, like your own minions, your own avatar, they take the damage. So it's pretty crazy, but you will see people that have been practicing Chaos Twister specifically. They are crazy with it. They'll say, I'm going to hit this square, and they'll go and blow that shit off like it's a birthday candle. It is crazy.
You got to do like 100 reps.
At least. Oh, it's crazy.
What were you doing all weekend? I was practicing my Chaos Twister.
I was Chaos Twister practicing.
Oh, that's good fun. So let's just get to the meat and potatoes here too. I think everybody wanted to know a little bit about the deck, right? So like, what's the meta? And then for those that don't really know, sorcery is interesting. You basically get one set a year, so what you see is what you get. I'm not saying this is the definitive meta, but a lot of people were kind of looking at the decks from this event, and I think it's going to sort of like influence the rest of the gameplay for at least the next, let's just say the next several months. I think that's pretty fair to
100%.
say.
Yeah. So, going into the event, we were going in a little bit blind. This is the first big tournament since Arthurian Legends came out. So I don't think anyone really knew what was going to go. The end of the beta, I guess if you want to call it the beta meta, ended up with like the Sorcerer aggro being kind of the consensus as the strongest deck. Fire, Earth, Sorcerer aggro was just everywhere and really hard to beat. so actually, when I was putting together the his name's Archimago. To make things easier, we've been calling him Archmagoo because it's fun to say. So Archimago essentially lets you recast your magic spells from the cemetery. So you have to banish 3 of them and you can cast 1 of them. So as you accrue more and more magic spells in your cemetery, you can then turn around and banish them to recast them. So, obviously that comes with needing the game to go longer so that you can get all those spells in your cemetery. And aggro proved to be a problem for that. So, I was doing some testing with Kurt because I was first doing like a fire air Archimago. And I think he beat me 5 times in a row, and it wasn't particularly close. So I was just getting steamrolled by the aggro. So because of that, I switched it up to Earth Air because Earth, I guess assuming that a lot of people don't know much about sorcery, Earth is a lot more defensive oriented. So there's a lot of defensive sites that can be played. Sites are the essentially the lands that you play out onto the grid. And a lot of them have certain abilities. And for instance, in Earth, there's a site that anything with 3 or more power can't enter it. So it kind of just puts up a front line for stopping any big minions. There's a new one that came in really handy at the event that takes away charge from nearby minions. So charge, it means you can attack right when it's played. No summoning sickness. So that's a really strong thing in those aggro builds. So kind of those defensive oriented sites helped put the brakes on the aggro a little bit. I also was a little bit fortuitous in that I didn't play any sorcerers all weekend. I played 7 rounds of Swiss and then quarters and semis and didn't see a single sorcerer. So maybe that helps me out a little bit too. I definitely don't think that the aggro list are going anywhere. It's just so strong that they're going to be around. There's a new avatar called Witch that essentially lets you put curses on your opposing avatar, and she can literally just ping you for 2 life every turn. So a lot of aggro lists are coming out around Witch. I think there was 1 Witch in top 8 that was doing some version of that. So I think those are going to be the aggro builds. But Archimago is just, his ability is insane. I still at the release event, I think Kurt was actually playing Archimago because he pulled one, and I remember halfway through the day looking at the card again and being like, "Wait, this isn't a tap ability. It literally just says banish 3 spells from your graveyard. You may cast a copy of one of them." I assumed up until then that you had to tap to do that, but that is not the case. You can just do it as many times as you want on your turn, as long as you have the spells in your graveyard. So from that point, I was like, okay, this is kind of busted. But yeah. So then
So spell recursion's kind of always busted, right? I feel like that in any game is going to be what you're going to want to look for. What were like some of the highlights of the event? Can you tell me, like, I don't know, I've been to enough of these events where it's like there's always a good and there's kind of a bad part. I don't know which part you want to focus on first, but can you just like walk me through a little bit about maybe was registration smooth? Was getting there easy? Were your opponents positive? I mean,
yeah, for sure. One more thing I'll add is just on the last topic that Archimago is essentially for anyone that doesn't know Sorcery, Death Speaker was around in beta, and Death Speaker lets you recast your minions. So now Archimago is just the same thing, but for spells. So it's really cool. Death Speaker, and then now this. But yeah, Death Speaker's also was really strong for a while, but people aren't really playing anymore. But anyway, so the event I thought was really, really smooth. You know, flying into Vegas, super easy. Airport was 5 minutes from the Strip. Took a little 10-minute Uber to our hotel. Walked into the event Saturday morning. Walked right up to the desk. Got our badge, and we were in. You know, so it was for how like grassroots the event was. You know, it's not Eric's Curiosa, the company, putting on the event. They like came and I think helped out, and they were there for a Q&A. But it was two guys in the community that put on the event. So you know, so based on them doing it, you know, essentially themselves, I thought it was incredibly well run. As far as my opponents, I think Sorcery is far and away the most like friendly community I've been around. You know, I've been around MetaZoo and then a little bit of Flesh and Blood, and now Sorcery. Sorcery, you know, everyone is extremely nice, almost suspiciously nice. But in any game, obviously, there are going to be people that are a little bit more competitive than others, which, you know, I think it's natural. I'm a little bit more competitive, but it was a lot of fun. I think the highlight for me was playing against a Flamecaller, who's kind of another aggro-oriented avatar. They're kind of looking to just go straight burn, and then they can banish minions from their cemetery to shoot projectiles at you. So it was the most aggro deck that I faced, and I was like, oh crap, like I'm in trouble here. He got in like 4 minions out by turn 4, and then I top decked an Earthquake which essentially lets you rearrange 4 sites and then bury everything. So I essentially just wiped out all his minions with my top deck, which literally won me the game. So that was probably the highlight for me, was that top deck of a lifetime. But yeah, and then I think as far as top 8, there are actually 3 Archimagos in top 8. So I think that shows that he's in a pretty good spot. And then to finish it out, I think it was Battle Mage, Geomancer, Witch, and I can't remember the last 2. Oh, Avatar of Air and Sorcerer actually was, I think, one of them. But it wasn't like the aggro Sorcerer. It was some weird 4-element sorcerer doing some goofy things. But yeah.
Speaking of that, how did you do in the constructed event? Like, how did you end up? How'd you finish?
So like I said, I was telling these guys before we got started, things kind of finally went my way. This time, I could, you know, first 2 big sorcery tournaments I played in didn't go super well for me, but then this one I ended up being the only undefeated through Swiss. I was 7-0 in Swiss. I won an Archimago Mir in the quarters, and then I played a Geomancer in the semis. And Geomancer is one of the pre-constructed deck avatars. That's actually one of the stronger ones. Geomancer's ability basically allows you to kind of get some early card advantage, because you can kind of just flip sites off the top of your atlas and play them without having to draw them. So it lets you get some early card advantage. The guy that I played, I think his name was Murray. He was super nice, and he just ended up having a essentially perfect curve. You know, turn 1 site, let him play a soldier, turn 2 minion, turn 3 minion, turn 4, all the way up through 7. And he just got to me faster than I could kind of take control. You know, it was one of those. I was kind of a bummer, because I felt like I was in a really good spot to turn things around if he hadn't gotten me to death's door on turn 7. You know, so it was a bit of a bummer, but it was fun. And the Battle Mage ended up winning the whole thing.
The Battle Mage that you beat in Swiss, correct?
Yeah, the Battle Mage I beat in round 6 of Swiss. Another super nice guy. He's playing like a water air Battle Mage. with the typical grapple shots. I say typical. A lot of people don't run water with Battle Mage, but
you got to run a lot of mobility. Like I feel like it's a game of mobility. If you're not running blinks or grapple shots or I even liked what's the one where you move like the knight in chess? Blanking
Blink.
maneuver?
What is that one called?
Blanking maneuver.
Yeah,
Blanking
blanking
maneuver.
I
Yeah,
love
and-
that card. I think that card's great. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like because some people might not know, like Sorcery, they kind of intentionally are flavorful with their text. Like the card literally says "move a chess knight's move away." I think is really neat.
It's pretty cool.
Most people, some folks might not even know what chess is. Actually,
You're like, what is that? What is
Which would be very funny to have to. Okay, so like you move in an L. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, how big is the L?
you can move in an L as an upside down L, a sideways L, backwards L. It's just got to be an L. What?
All right, well, Marcus spoke, a lot of positives.
What
on
about what's the
Sorcery.
pricing like?
Yeah, so,
Yes, that's what I was.
meeting
That's
with
what I was
Kate
trying to
and
get.
So
Marcus.
it's time. It's time for me.
What's
to
the EV
step
looking
in.
like?
Listen,
Yeah.
listen.
Kurt Evie,
So,
Tax Masterson.
I also competed in Sorcery Con. My, I guess, run was in the main event, as opposed to the second day constructed event that Marcus did well in. I decided that my skills were good enough in the draft, in the sealed of this new set, that I would try. For any of you unfamiliar with Sorcery Con, this year their main event was a sealed tournament that then led into a series of draft tournaments after top 64 and top 8. So, sealed tournament, for those that are unaware, they give you 6 packs of cards. They go, here's your cards. Open them up, build a deck. Whatever you got, that's your deck. Okay, cool. That's pretty good EV right there, right? Boxes are $120. You get 24 packs. It's like $5-6 a pack. I'm already getting $30. That's pretty cool. If you open something cool, that's pretty cool. So, you open them up. Again, this was the main event. This cost you $100 to play in. Now, there were other things that you got. You got an exclusive playmat. No recent sales on eBay yet. You got a nice metal badge that said Sorcery Con, and it had some artwork on the back of one of the gilded knights or sirs or King Arthur on it. Pretty cool little piece. A little upgrade over like your standard plastic con badge. And it was also pack per win during that main event. So every round we played 6 rounds of Swiss. Every round that you won, you got another free pack. You couldn't use it in your deck, but you got a free pack. Again, so if you win, that's an extra $5. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. So, day goes on. I myself do pretty well. I go 5-0. And by that point, I was tired of playing cards for the day. So regardless of who I played in the last round, I was going to ask them if they would like to not play that round of cards, for better or worse. The guy was European. He didn't understand the concept of a gentleman. So I lost. That's fine. Whatever. I did get 5 packs of cards for my 5 wins and some pretty good hits out of those packs. So I would say that's worth. I'm fairly confident between my 6 entry packs, my 5 winner packs, and the lunch. They provided us lunch both days. That was very nice. And it wasn't like your basic lunch either. It was like an artisan sandwich. There were also vegan options. Very cool. You got a bag of chips, some fruit, a little Mediterranean salad, and a brownie. That's pretty sick. That's value right there. That's right. That's 10. We're in Vegas. The cheapest thing you're going to find is like Denny's. That's across the street. But then you got to wait for Denny's. This was right here waiting for us. It was very nice. We love that. There was free cold water throughout the event. Also very underrated. Free cold water, especially in Las Vegas. Big plus. We love hearing that. So I'd say with all those things combined, if you did moderately well in the main event, you made your $100. You made your money. Now, whether people want to sell their commemorative playmat, their commemorative little badge, whatever. You can keep those things. I think you still did relatively well. So, at the end of day one, they announced the top 64. Last year, they cut to top 8. This year, we're cutting to top 64 of those 268 players. You will be randomly drawn a pod, except for the top 8 players. They will be guaranteed to be in their own different pods. I fortunately placed 7th in Swiss, so I was in pod 7. Then you draft. So you get 3 packs of cards. For those that are unfamiliar with the draft, you get 3 packs of cards. You open one at a time. You pick your favorite. You pass it a direction. You get the pack from the other person. Rinse and repeat until all the cards are gone. You're going to do that for 3 packs of cards, and then you're going to build a deck from it. So right there, 3 more packs. Hey, that's pretty good. Top 64 was also given an I would say exclusive. It was an early 2-player playmat featuring some of the artwork from Arthurian Legends that they said would be in the Dust Store. When that's going to be, we don't know. Currently, this was the only way to get them. Pretty cool. You know, they're on the backs of your chairs as an additional sort of like, hey, thanks for making it to top 64. So you run through that draft and you have to just win out. There's no Swiss rounds. There is nothing. You are playing a best of 1 until you win your pod. So you got to go 3-0. Unfortunately for me, my pod was full of a bunch of killers, which I was not the biggest fan of.
Blame the pod.
Hey, listen. All I'm saying
sounds
is,
like a skill issue, bro.
Listen, all I'm saying is, whenever 3 of my 8 players are top players in the game and names that everyone recognize.
I didn't see Easton Evans on that list.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Now, Easton was pod 3, man. This was pod 7, the pod of death, if you will.
The Tide Pod.
Yeah, I wanted to eat a Tide Pod at the end of it. So
that's your prizing.
Yeah, felt like it. So I win my first round pretty handily. That was one of the lower rungs of my pod. I win my second match. Okay, cool. I'm essentially in top 16, and I have to play the reigning Courtesan Cup champion, which the Courtesan Cup is one that they hold every year in Boston. It is also a draft event. This man won it. Okay, cool. It was a good game, but unfortunately, I did not win. My run was over, as was my prizing. So for top 64, all I got was a 2-player playmat that will eventually be released into the Dust Store, basically their participation.
So you better sell that thing while it's hot.
I don't think anybody's going to buy it.
We don't know if that playmat is going to make it to the Dust Store. You can only exclusively get it from Kurt and Marcus. And
that's the hope. That's the hope. Now, let me talk about the prizing for top 8. After you made it out of your pod, you won those 3 matches. The top 8 players draft again. They draft 3 more packs. Now your prizing has jumped to an unreleased champion promo. No sales on it. It's very exclusive. I think those were like the first 8 given out. A sorcerer avatar promo, Frank Frazetta art, I believe. Those will be in the store kits as sort of like the chase, the winners cards. Most recent sale on it, $450.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
As well as a 1 of 22 Death Dealer, which is a card in Sorcery. Playmat. I don't know why it was 1 of 22. 1 of 22 has an estimated value of $800. So
you gotta make top 8.
That's
gotta get that plane ticket paid for.
Gotta pay for your Vegas ticket, you know. So pretty good for the top 8. I think the winner got like an uncut sheet.
Like uncut sheets.
There was, of course, product, everything like that. The hoorah of the tournament.
Glory, Yugioh prizing.
Glory, fame, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh prizing. Glory and a playmat.
Yeah, glory.
And
a box of cards.
Yeah, hold up the playmat. I tried.
And a job well done.
I believe they also got some special stamped promos. We got the Sorcery Con stamped
I almost
promo that we
forgot.
all got. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you need
Yeah.
that. You do need that. You
Got some promos.
Caster Society stamp.
bust
Yeah.
out the old stamp machine, please. Give the players what they want.
Man, I
mean,
wish it was like an official looking stamp. I'm pretty sure that Dave or Floating Skull and Alex West are the two people that put on Sorcery Con, and I'm pretty sure they just use like an ink stamp and they just roll it onto the card.
Oh, I was thinking the stamp machine.
I wish, man. We're not that exclusive yet. We can't do that one yet.
Dang.
But,
okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe next time.
Also, participation promos, and again, top 8 in both sides. I believe Marcus for top 8 got an exclusive stamped promo for top 8 as well. I believe it was an elite card.
King's Council.
There you go.
The stamp actually looks. It's like a gold stamp.
Hey,
You want
that's
to take
kind
it
of
out?
cool.
Take it out of the sleeve?
Yeah, I guess I should do that.
That's kind of cool looking.
There you go. Sorcery Con 2024 Vegas.
All
right.
Cool.
Also, Sorcery is pretty cool that as long as you can provide a card reference, they will let you play the cards if they have like writing over them, or in this case, a big fucking stamp on it. As long as your opponent knows what that card does, you can play cool stuff like that. So, pretty okay on the EV. I did hear that there were some people that were there for the first time, their first time playing Sorcery. So I don't know if that was the play, but
Easton, that could have been you.
that could.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one more tournament. I'm gonna do a couple more tournaments, and then the next Sorcery Con, we're gonna get with Marcus. We're gonna get with Kurt. If the value is there, it sounds like there's some value there. Search is a good time. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a lot.
It's a good game.
Yeah. So
it's a good game. Yeah, for me, I'm like, I want to go and play cards, but
it's okay. You can just say
you're
not good enough. It's okay.
Metazu spoiled me, man. It spoiled me.
Yeah, you're just not good enough, and that's
Metazu was like, oh, show up, make $500.
No. As far as registration, everything like Marcus said, super clean. They just took your name, checked you in, you were ready to go. After Swiss and at the beginning of Top Cut of the main event, the Sorcery Play Network, brought to us by everyone's favorite Cardio, crashed. So we had to do paper pairings for the Top Cut of the main event. That was a bit unfortunate. But other than that, a fairly smooth process with the Play Network and registration. I wasn't able to participate in the constructed event, which was on day 2, because I chose to pursue the main event, the sealed and draft. I got my refund for that constructed event in 2 minutes. I just walked up to the registration counter, said I can't play in this, and they refunded me. So that was super sick. Loved that. Loved that I wasn't out $40 for no reason. As far as it really being a con, though, like a convention, I don't know if I'd really call it that. There were some vendors on one side. There were many artists at this. I believe the most at any Sorcery event so far. There were a total of 14 artists at the event that were selling their wares, signing your cards, having your chit chat. That was cool. I guess in that sense, you could call it a convention, but I would liken it to more like a regional tournament. There wasn't really much to do outside of playing those 2 events. Side events didn't really fire. Fun events didn't really happen, which people did complain about. There was maybe a staffing issue, understandably so, that caused that sort of lack of things to do. But fortunately, we are in Las Vegas, so there is lots to do that isn't play Sorcery. So that was a good positive. Yeah. But it was a nice event. The room was cold. I will speak to people used to playing in sweaty elbow to elbow tournaments for
play
games
packet
where
style.
where it's 100 degrees and heat stroke is imminent. The room was well air conditioned. Like I said, water stations everywhere, free lunch. It was a good time overall. I I do not regret going there despite not making top 8 in the main event.
Yeah, that's fine. I think at some point we just got to relegate the idea that it's like I spent X amount of money to have a fun experience.
And I definitely think it was that for most people, if not everyone, that went there. And like Marcus touched on, I'd say Sorcery is probably, you know, I was in the Pokemon community for a long time, and I long held it as like the most friendly community. But here in recent years, it's kind of fallen off. There's been a more kind of sweaty, competitive overtone to it, you know, likened to your Magic, your Yu-Gi-Oh, your other, you know, sort of card games like that. But Sorcery, I rarely have an opponent that is, you know, mean or like won't let me take something back or won't have friendly banter with me.
Not with me, man. You try to take that back?
Hit the table.
Go home, Roger.
Sorry for that misplay, sucker.
Yeah.
Get better. Get good.
Other than Edward Chalupa, catch him at your next Sorcery tournament in 2027. They're all pretty nice. They're all pretty cool, and I think that's a good thing, right? You know, there's some decent money on the line for those that are sort of at the top of that side of the competitive tables, and still very nice, very pleasant, not really sweaty at all. So that's pretty cool. I liked it.
They need a little bit of they need some spikes in there is what you're telling me.
I guess so.
Make it a little spicy.
Well,
spicy.
They start offering cash prizes and they will come.
Yeah. One other cool thing, I mentioned that Eric's Curious was there in some capacity, and they did a little Q&A, and they also gave some really cool spoilers for this upcoming mini set. So, you know, as you said, Ed, the plan they said is to do one main set a year, but that I think they intend to do some like mini sets to fill the gaps.
Oh,
and
good.
they've been teasing this dragon mini set, and they finally did some spoilers for it. And I guess it's a fairly well-known artist, Ed Beard Jr. I think did a lot of old MTG artwork. And so I guess it's some kind of like vision or plan that he had to make some kind of a story. And Eric reached out to him, and they kind of said, "Oh, we can fulfill that through this mini set." And so it's all the art is from this one guy, and I guess it's supposed to contain some kind of story within it. I'm not really sure how much it'll be, but they spoiled the new avatar, the Dragon Lord, and it looked really cool. Really cool. So it was fun to be there with the spoilers would pop up on the screen and everyone would ooh and ah, and it was a lot of fun.
You got to have the spoilers at these events to build the hype.
Yeah,
you really do.
And the shame with Sorcery, I think to some people's, I mean, I think other people feel this way too. It's like you got to have a little something in between these year-long sets,
like a wet our whistle, you know,
like alt art. It doesn't. You don't even have to like redesign any cards. Just just give us different something to look at, or even like a Chase Hollow variant. I don't know, something. Yeah. People go crazy for that.
It was interesting. They whenever they spoke of this mini set done by Ed Beard. And just to elaborate on Ed a little bit, he did all of the original dragons from MTG. People will probably know him best by the original Nico Bolas. He did that one. So pretty cool. It's like a 13 card set, and someone asked, "How are we going to get this? How are you going to let us purchase this?" And they said that this is not an entry point card expansion. You know, we're not going to put it on a Target shelves. We might not even put it on an LGS's shelves, but you will get the entire set with one purchase, which was 13 cards. So whatever product they plan to deliver to us, we're going to get the entire set in that one product, which seems fairly interesting, right? Like you mean I just gotta buy it once and I get all the cards? I don't have to buy
for 4 of them.
Yeah, well, maybe,
I want 14 of them.
Right? So it's an interesting move.
Yeah, but where's the gambling element? I mean, come on.
Maybe some of those 13 cards can be foil. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm teasing.
But I thought that was really cool that they said that, you know, whatever product we decide to put out for this new mini set, you're going to get all 13 of the cards of that set in in our product that we decide to put out. So pretty cool. I liked it. I was a big fan of hearing that. During that Q&A, there wasn't really a lot discussed about a judge program or the future of like competitive play from Eric's Curiosa, which was sad. We didn't have enough time. People would rather talk about the lore of Sorcery for whatever reason. I guess because they're not too concerned about the EV. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And, I guess that kind of makes it a con as well, right? You have the company there. They're talking about their game. They're doing an interactive Q&A. They're meeting the players. I shook hands with a couple of employees who I was introduced to. So that was pretty neat. Big fan of that. At least they know my name. We love hearing that. But yeah, I guess the more that I think about it, the more that it was sort of a con, but it was only in one room. And whenever I think of a convention, I think of a multi-room fiasco.
Yeah.
And there was no multiverse. It was contained to one ballroom at the Park MGM.
Dang. Should have done like a little dice game in the corner, play some Sparkle, something. Mix it up a bit.
Gamble your lunch.
Right.
Are you going to eat today or not, buddy?
You play people for the sandwiches and the brownies. You're like,
so,
all right.
What I don't understand about here's a little PR marketing tip for you if you're listening, Mr. Sorcery. When you go do these, and it's not just Sorcery, maybe they did this, I don't know, maybe Vegas is too big of a town, but when you hold your convention in these cities and towns and stuff, you like link up with the chamber or whoever and say, hey, listen, we're hosting this event, like try to get some PR around it, some buzz. Like I'll just speak for like MetaZoo when they came to Dallas for their event or whatever. It wouldn't have been very difficult to even get somebody to hop onto the city's like subreddit or whatever channels that people are on and be like, hey, we're hosting this big card convention or this big thing. Just generate some buzz around it. Advertise at like, especially when you have this space up, it doesn't have to be just for the people that are already involved or interested or playing your game. Make it a space where people can, any person could just come in and check it out, I guess. There's just a lot of awareness that needs to be done for these Kickstarter games.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. They didn't really do that. Honestly, trying to find it was a bit difficult the first day because really the only like marketing and like advertising for this event was on the same floor of the event whenever you went up the escalator and the room was right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that all those nerds are walking into there? Oh, that must be SorceryCon. Oh, check out this cool SorceryCon banner. But like, where was that at the entrance to the hotel? Or where was that at all of the entrances to like the casino or what have you? Or why wasn't there like a rotating advertisement on Park MGM's, billboard outside the hotel? Right?
Yeah, I mean, or even like, okay, so I'm going to spit out random ideas here. We don't have to, nobody has to do them. It's just fun to talk about them. That's what we're here for. But it would be cool too if for Sorcery they were doing like a fortune teller outside of the event or something. And then like any random person off the street, there's people walking all over the streets in Vegas. They do the fortune. And at the end they get a card. It's essentially a promo card, but it's a card that gives you entry to SorceryCon. And then they use that card, they get into the event and they get a booster pack or some shit. I mean, I don't know, but it gets them into the event. They have intrigue because they just had their fortune told by some actor.
Yeah, or just like a couple of like people dressed up in knights costumes,
something like that. Yeah, or even a knight. Like I said, but
we need MetaZoo's marketing with the gameplay and the people of Sorcery. That's what we need. Because I will say, going to like LA Comic-Con or Collecticon and having the fortune teller.
That was cool.
That was kind of cool. I mean, we just.
But they need to do it out. They can't do it in the convention, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you got to bring people. You got to bring like the normal daywalkers. The regulars. They need to like check it out, see what it's about. I don't know.
The Joe Everyman for sure, or maybe that that little. Hey, I got this off the street. They told me to come in here. Got you a pack and like hey, if you want to learn about the game, we'll give you a pre-con. and
Yeah.
we'll play that pre-con with you.
Oh man, don't get me started on pre-con. They act like those things are freaking precious gold under wraps. Like, what do you mean there's no Arthurian Legends pre-con? It's like, well, you see, we didn't sell enough of the beta ones. Okay, so
Well,
that tells me there's a different problem, right? You need to start onboarding your player base. Said this a million times. Like, your players are gonna get you. Your players are the ones that get you through the Russian winter. It's like, oh man, sets aren't selling that much, but you can always rely on the players to just buy whatever garbage you put out, especially if it's playable. It's like,
it's true.
well, I gotta buy it. I need it for my deck.
Okay. I gotta forgo my rent.
How do you think Flesh and Blood gets by? That's their model. That's their model. They don't have a growth model. They just have a retention model. It's all like, hey, playable card, playable card, playable card.
Yeah.
Stop liking Magic.
Stop liking Magic. Yeah, exactly. You hate Magic, right? Here's Flesh and Blood. Plays nothing like Magic, but you'll love it.
You know, that's interesting that you say that, because Sorcery doesn't really suffer, with one set a year. They don't really suffer from people not buying product that entire year. They just kind of suffer from people like losing interest in the game because there's only a set a year. There's not a set schedule of premier events to go to for competitive players. So it's up to local play, right? And at the local level, maybe, like what happened to the store that myself and Marcus play at is, they ran out of product after 4 months. So we just had 4, 5, 6 months of, we've got the same 4 to 6 people that show up because they've got all the cards, but we could never bring anybody else in because there was no product on the shelf, right? And then, speaking even of this, people sort of forget about it. I recently took a trip to Minnesota, to the Twin Cities, and I went into sort of their biggest game store that I could find. And I asked about Sorcery, and they were like, yeah, we had a really strong player base in beta, but all the players were like former Magic players. They really liked it. But then once I told them that it was only one set a year, after they bought all the boxes, all their cards that they needed, they forgot about it. And most of my Sorcery players didn't even know that the new set came out because it only happens once a year. It's not like they need to fire some email blasts. They need to fire a zine at me or something to just let me know, let those people know, hey guys, we're back. Check this out. Look at what's going on. Or they need to fire something into the local game store saying, hey, check it out. People need to play our game again.
Y'all are listening to the Giddm Games podcast here, and I'm going to give another nugget. The next this Kickstarter model, I've been trying to push it forever. Somebody freaking do this. You don't even have to pay me for it. Do a subscription model. I'm telling you, subscription TCG model. Like, if you get 100 people that love your product so much, every 4 months they get a booster box. Every 2 months they get a promo set. Something, or even once a month they get some sort of product that's from you. It's like what Jack White does with Third Man Records. They do the record, one new record every month that comes in the mail, and it's an absorbent amount of money. You could just buy the record for cheaper, but the fact that you don't think about it just shows up to your door, and it's something that gets you kind of excited, like, oh, it's coming in the mail. And and what's nice about that is, as a company, you already know what your bottom line is. Like, you can start doing projections and not be like, oh, how much are we going to make next month? For the most part, those subscribers, they'll stick around.
100%. It's almost like, how Magic does with Secret Lair, except you just turn that into a monthly model. And if you're listening to this, Hasbro, I will take my cut of that idea. But it's just like $20-$30 a month, and you get a cute little promo set every month and a half or every 2 months or something like that. As long as you stick to that schedule and people expect it and they get it on time, which is something that MetaZoo did not do very well, of getting our stuff on time.
Yeah.
But as long as you stick to that getting on time, it would be amazing. Like you said, you could do those projections and be like, well, we've got 300 subscribers. They're paying us $30. This is guaranteed buku money, and we're printing and sending them cardboard for essentially nothing, right? Cards don't cost a lot of money to print. We all know that at this point. The printing is not the expensive portion of a trading card game. So I really think that the first company to really do that is going to see a lot of success, because I don't really think any company does that. Like,
and what you do, you cap it too. So you do like, okay, we're only allowing 500 into this tier.
So like Rudy.
And basically, yeah. No, I'm serious. And
I think Chronicles Arcane does it. They have their like different
Patreon.
levels. Their Patreon. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's like a Patreon model, but actual subscription with that TCG. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I would also do though is you don't disclose what the next thing they're getting is, right? So sometimes it's a banger. Sometimes it's something that's just like, holy moly, this is selling on the secondary market for $200.
Why the fuck am I not subscribed to this?
Yeah, and I'm missing out on it. But other months, maybe it's just something regular. It's just like, oh yeah, we got like 5 packs, and that's cool. Like, that's worth my 15, 20, whatever it costs. But
5 packs and a promo card.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Well, that pays for my sub, but like, yeah, I love that. I love that. Like, what's gonna come next? Because you get FOMO from people so bad. As soon as they see that pop out, people talk about it, and they're like, okay, where do I sign up for this? Fuck.
It's full.
It's full. So now how do I
secondary market, and then it makes the secondary market go crazy because it's locked in. Those people, the only way they got those cards or those whatevers was from being the subscriber. So then it makes your secondary market look really, I mean, it's a whole, it's baked in. Somebody just do it. You'll make money. It's not hard to.
You could even like build that artificial hype by saying like, oh, twice a year we're going to allow 50 more people to be added to the sub list, or 100 more people. You better be fast because it's going to drop at midnight on this day. Those spots would fill up so quickly, and it's okay if you don't tell the people that have dropped out of the subscription, you guys are still full. You're still exclusive. But you're going to guarantee get those 100 new people.
It'd be really twisted if you treat it like Bitcoin and you grow your subscriber base to 1,000, but then you say at every 6 months we do a halving. When we have the subscriber base, we double the subscription price.
Holy moly.
Or something like that. I don't know, but you do like a sliding scale. I'm not saying you actually do that. That's probably a bad idea. But I just like how devious it is. That's a Rudy idea right there.
Yeah.
It really is.
Subscription having.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, honestly, all things Sorcery is good. Like, I think Sorcery is in a really good spot right now. I've enjoyed hearing, especially you and Marcus, kind of like it makes me envious to some extent. Like, I just miss playing cards. It's that Sorcery is just a fun, solid game to play. I don't mean this to no slight to anybody that likes Lorcana or whatever. You like what you like. I was telling Easton this earlier. The best part about Sorcery is that you're playing with adults. Be good or a bad thing depending the adult, but by and large it's nice just to be like there's other adults in the room. Like we all work, or not all work, but I assume most people that flew to Las Vegas have like some sort of life outside of cards, and this is their escape as well, and most people have that in common. And I think that's something that you won't necessarily see with like your Yu-Gi-Ohs or your Lorcanas or Pokemons, in that like some of it is just kids and teenagers playing that mom and dad helped them get to the event or whatever, and again that's fine too, but it's a different breed, I think.
And I would just add to that, like Sorcery uniquely to me I think is very simple but also has a lot of depth to it. Like something like Lorcana is very simple but I don't think it has very much depth. Flesh and Blood has a lot of depth, but you put that in front of a new person and they're just like, what the heck? It's very, very complicated. Sorcery, you can play it very simple, straightforward. I'm going to put my sights right up to you and I'm going to come attack you. Or you can be, more thoughtful about it and And all right, I got to put this here because X, Y, Z. I got to put this here because it's a water site. So I think it has that's what's been special about Sorcery to me, is that it's simple, but also there's so much. Yeah, I guess I hear it referred to as skill expression. That never made a lot of sense to me, but I guess skill expression is a
skill expression. That's a very autistic word for saying I'm good at cards.
Yeah,
I guess that aligns with the fact that I see it used in the Flesh and Blood subreddit a lot. So.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. I've heard that before, and
yeah,
it's one of those phrases. It's one of those phrases
you
gotta smile at a little bit.
Yeah,
exactly. You played Control and Magic. You were playing Demir or Azorius Control, and that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been mostly the Sorcery podcast, the Sorcery show. Is there any?
We like that. We like that.
Okay. Okay. Anything else going on in the TCG sphere? Should we touch on a few things? I know Pokemon, their app just dropped. That's kind of that's been a bit of a zeitgeist type thing.
Dude, we should talk about it, man. If you're not playing Pokemon Pocket, what are you doing with your life?
It reminds me of Pokemon Go.
That honestly, they won't say it until it actually goes to the premier event level. But I wholeheartedly believe that Pokemon Pocket was created as the TCG equivalent of Pokemon Go, as Pokemon Go is to the video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do believe that they are going to have regional tournaments. They're going to have local level tournaments, all sponsored by the company. They're going to have a national tournament and even a world championship for Pokemon Pocket.
Is it the same as a normal?
It is not. So it is a different rules engine, different cards. Artwork is same, but different rules engine, a simplified ruled engine, but also has some depth to it, some skill expression, if you will.
Well, what's your thought on that, Easton?
They got any counter spells?
Ooh, no. So famously,
no.
Pokemon does not like interaction on your opponent's turn. They did that for a year's worth of sets, widely seen as some of the best sets, if not the best block in Pokemon's history, because of that counterplay mechanic. Then they got rid of it because it was pretty anti-fun. So no,
that means I won't have any fun.
No interaction on your opponent's turn, but it's really cool. The app is developed by Creatures, which is the company that actually owns Pokemon. So if they're putting their name on this and not just the Pokemon company just shoveling it off to some other company to develop
or whatever,
yeah, exactly, right? Like it's gotta be worth something. They gotta be thinking that something's gonna come out of this, and I think it's really cute. Whenever you get a little notification that say it's time to open up a booster pack, I really like that.
Now, I'm not trying to. Y'all call me out on this. I want to see what y'all's opinion is. And
ready to call?
This is related, kind of, but I think. And again, I'm trying to stay out of Rudy investor territory, but I truly think the TCG markets are about to go nuts, and I think this is part of that. I think a game like this is going to onboard so many people, prospective, like kids who just buy packs, they don't play, they don't think about or play or do anything with Pokemon, but the amount of folks that are going to interact with this game, and it's only going to steamroll them into buying the card. It's just adding more and more hype and volatility into what is this Pokemon machine. I don't really know what I'm going with, but I'm already seeing the numbers and the way people are interacting with these new sets, and it's people are buying out Costco's. The little Timmies are back who are I didn't get my cards, and now I feel like it's just further compounded with this new game and stuff that's coming out now. It just all seems really weird and timely. I thought a lot of that was behind us. If you asked me maybe 3 months ago, I would have been yeah, TCGs, they're a vehicle for fun, not a vehicle for financial gain necessarily. But I feel like I'm eating my words a little bit. Do you guys understand what I'm saying at all? I don't know.
I get it. and I think Pokemon's smart. This most recent set that they just came out with, the chase card was a Pikachu card. All the
What?
people go nuts over that, right?
Well, it was like selling for like it was like
$300.
yeah,
I think the market sold it around like $250, $300.
okay, but still, like,
Yeah.
what is this? I thought
Is it the
$300
Pikachu with the pineapple crown?
Yeah, with the
All right.
the Terra crown on it. The next set is an Evolution set. You talk to any Pokemon collector, Marcus included, the Evolutions always hold their value. If you talk to any Pokemon collector, they will tell you that any Evolution card holds and gains value.
really.
It just does.
Or-
There is.
Are you
not-
talking about like historically, or are you just talking about that one
Just-
set, Evolving Skies?
Oh no! Every set. You can look at every Evolution card, and you can see that it has either retained or increased value as time went
Huh.
on. It's
I
just
didn't know that.
That
It's just the most-
Flareon.
it's just the most popular.
All right,
People like-
wait. What evolution's your evolution? We'll start with Kurt. Which
Ooh.
one's yours?
Man, that's tough. Probably it's gonna sound like real stupid, but I don't know. I like Jolteon the best. I think it's pretty cool. He's fast,
They're the best
Jolt-
stats.
yeah,
fast
Jolteon.
and pointy, and I played him in the game.
Yeah,
Like every
pin-
time I
pin
could get
missile.
a Jolteon, I'd put I'd use Jolteon. So
That's a good one. Okay. Marcus, do you have one?
Everyone says Umbreon, but I gotta say Umbreon. And I still remember the shiny with the blue instead of the yellow rings around it.
Yeah, Umbreon
I love
hits.
Umbreon.
That's
Mm.
right. That's right. Easton.
I mean, I like the card art for the Flareon from was it Fossil or
from Fossil, yeah,
I always like that one. The Jolteon was kind of cool because he's like,
he's
Yeah, he's all up in there.
yeah, I said, but I like the Flareon because not a lot of people saw that. Were able to see that one.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like Jolteon the most, but I can't. I mean, that one's already taken. So maybe my runner up is Leafeon. I always thought because
That was going to be my runner-up too.
there was some lore around Leafeon. I forget, but during the game, like I think it was like Red or Gold when Gold came out, Gold and Silver. I don't know if Leafeon's in Gold and Silver, but
It's not.
yeah, but there was a rumor about there being a Leafeon. I remember that was like street talk. They're like, yeah,
Schoolyard talk about
Yeah.
Leafeon.
yeah. And sure enough, I mean, maybe it was in like a TCG set in Japan, or I don't. I need to look that up. I'm gonna look up the Leafeon lore at some point because I do remember people talking about that in the schoolyard.
Well, Girly Pop, Leafeon didn't come out till Gen 4, and you're talking about Gen 2, so
Okay, well then they stole my
Revisionist
idea.
history.
They stole my idea then. Okay.
just
But that VMAX alt art from Evolving Skies, the Leafeon pushing the hay bale.
Oh
Yeah.
man, just doing honest work.
That's a hit.
Yeah.
That's a
Just,
That's
hit.
a good
just
one.
pushing the hay bale.
Y'all are about to make me get back into like going and collecting some Pokemon cards. 'Cause
Dude,
I
it's
haven't-
fun.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been so big on the EV and it's like now everybody's so focused on like making money and stuff like that.
That's exactly what's going on right now. And I'm telling you, it's about to hit.
This is financial advice. Buy Evolutions cards. They will increase in value.
Well, and that leads me into my next point. Listen, even with Meta 2, I've said this before. I'm gonna reinforce it. When Meta 2 comes out, even if people don't like MetaZoo, if they don't like Meta 2 could print a turd. Okay, it's gonna go insane. Like,
dude,
everybody is ready for the second coming of MetaZoo. It could be totally not what people want or like, but I think it's gonna be underprinted and it's gonna be overbought.
dude, not gonna lie, I'd buy the Great Turd of Colorado Springs. Let me tell you,
Dude, I would too. Just put
Easton's thinking about it.
The poop emoji done in Kelsey Giacchino art. Yeah.
What's the value on that? What's the
Yeah.
value?
Yeah.
What's the EV?
But I only want it if it's a limited print in the marketplace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. The
and
Meta
that's-
2 marketplace.
And that's the
Yeah.
ultimate rare. Like it has to have that foiling and that style of the card.
Golly. Yeah. People never understand the real appeal to MetaZoo is that it looked like a cheap Chinese sticker knockoff that you'd get from the vending machine.
Yeah, but it was the most powerful card.
Yeah, it's the most
Oh god.
Loveland Mailman.
Yeah,
Dude, man.
bro. Those
I
are
don't know if I
days.
could ever explain to anybody that that was a free card that came with a $5 promo and it would sell for $150.
Mm.
What?
Yeah, those
Man.
are the days.
Meta's who messed us up bad, but
That's right.
and again, people are gonna wax nostalgic. They're gonna think Meta 2. All right. Oh, okay. Listen, I know we're over, but I'm trying to bonus round this. Cryptid Camp. What do we think about Cryptid Camp? Do you guys know anything about that?
Not
Okay.
really.
So Kurt says no. Marcus, I don't imagine you know much about it.
I've seen
I'm
a
gonna-
couple. I've seen a couple posts about campfires and hats or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Wow, they're lanterns. Okay, get your shit
Oh,
together.
lanterns. Okay,
Lantern.
sorry. Lantern hat. I don't know.
Easton, are you a Cryptid Camper?
I'm uneducated. I'll do a little bit more research, so I'll bow out. But I will say, right now we're in a surplus of cryptid games, and the head honcho, the big daddy's coming back home. So
That's true.
These cryptid games are gonna have to, start releasing and having some actual products and getting in the hands of people, and whether they have a TTS table server or what, like they're gonna have to get people to play and see and do all this stuff, because when Meta 2's coming back, people are, they're gonna be like, screw this, I'm done playing with you old this
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in a lot of TCGs. Everything looks really, really cool, but if I was giving any advice, I'd say people need to start releasing this stuff and not just having a lot of theories or headcanon, and we need to see products in hand.
Yeah. Meta 2 is gonna be like, hey, nay, Daddy's back.
Daddy's back.
Daddy's back.
I'm
Check out this Mothman card.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're hoping. All right, well, cool. Let's see here, Marcus. I think people want your deck list from Sorcery Con. I've seen that around a little bit.
We're keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
We got to keep it. Hey. Subscribe
Okay.
to the Giddm Games.
That's right.
Yeah.
Paywall.
We gotta go around the country with that deck list.
Yeah, that's right. The Giddm Games pro team.
See the amazing top 4 finish.
All right. Well, if you choose to share it, awesome. If not, that's fine. But people were asking about it. I'm in the streets. I see what people are asking.
It was
It
easy.
They ended up posting it.
Yeah.
They ended up posting it in like the Sorcery Con Discord, but like they didn't like put any tag, like they didn't tag everyone or anything. I don't think many people saw it.
Listen, they did y'all dirty day 2
Yeah.
for Sorcery Con, because I was out here. I was like, hey, does anybody know where I can find the stream? I go to the announcements channel for the Sorcery Con event. I'm like, nothing. Okay. I had to like ask a couple people for the link, because the stream wasn't even on their main channel. The Sorcery Con stream was on an alternative channel that wasn't even Sorcery's main YouTube channel. So I'd go to the main YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, Arthurian Legends like release event. Okay, this isn't it. Anyways, maybe that can get better next time.
Yeah.
But all good things will get better. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for checking out the podcast this week. Thank you for stacking the deck with us. Edward Chalupa signing off. Easton, Kurt, Marcus.
Thanks.
Peace.